What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy James 59, and I know we've all been testing out a lot of the new civilizations, but there are still some gems that we currently have in the game, and I wanted to do another build order video. This is actually a part 2 build order video to one that I did looking at Bulgarians playing ultra fast men-at-arms into skirmishers, and in that video one of the things that I mentioned was that you can also do men-at-arms into scouts, and it can be very effective, and you want to think situationally about when you actually want to go skirms or when you want to go ahead and play scouts. So this video is going to be the part 2 of that. We looked at skirms. Now what I want to do is I want to look at the scout play. The build order is pretty similar actually, but you're going to get different strategic and tactical advantages out of it. And so let's go ahead and jump into that. Before I just click the start button here, if you like the video, right, go ahead, subscribe, holla at your boy, follow the channel, right? We're trying to put out a lot more content on this channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more gameplay videos as well, me live doing things like that, and also casting some games, even trying to see, you know, taking that next jump out, for me at least, out of that kind of, you know, 1300-ish range. I think in this, trying some meme strategies, sometimes I drop below that a little bit, so I'm trying to work myself a little bit of the ways back up in the game, and so that's what I'm trying to do in the channel. So anyways, let's go ahead. I'll put the build order on the screen. You can pause it, but with that being said, let's go ahead and just get this party started. Zoom out a little bit, and so you're gonna take a look at my position, right? I'm in the reds playing as the Bulgarians, and my opponent in the blue is playing as the Mongols, right? So we have two very aggressive civilizations here, and so it's worth thinking about what that means. Let's start off with my opponent's map. Actually, it's a pretty easy map to wall, right? He's got these great cliffs. So this is something you need to know about the current Arabia generation. This is as of the most recent balance patch. They've added cliffs back into the game in the Arabia generations. So this cliff is really, really useful for this guy, because now he can wall here if he wants to. And this is very easy. This is a very wallable map. He's got back gold, which is nice. The berries are quite a bit forward, and that's actually something of a problem. You can try to wall out to here if you're going to go for some walls that are a bit wider, but that you have to really commit to that if you want to play that as a against a civ like Bulgarians, which can do some really fast men-at-arms strategies. So I'll talk about that in a second. First, I want to take a look at my map. I think my map is okay. Can wall here or here. This is easy to get a little wall off. In fact, that's a place to wall, definitely. I'm very, very open on the front here, so that's something to keep in mind, that probably need to wall much more shallowly in this area, right? And so that's one of the things. Again, these are the kind of things that you want to try and think about in terms of your map. Think about how you're going to get it walled up, so that way you don't have, because, you know, 4 or 5 just sort of stray archers, even while you're attacking, can actually do quite a bit of damage to you. So something to keep in mind, and you don't want to let that happen to you. So get yourself walled up. And Survivalist, shout out to his channel. He has a really, really good video. I think he has 2 videos on his channel that are pretty recent about walling, and so highly recommend you check it out. Now, you can see, right, we're playing this pretty normal. It's worth noting that in the Bulgarians ultra fast men-at-arms build, you go 3 on wood to open up here, right? It's gonna be fine. You're gonna have the wood. It's gonna be cool. So let's get in our berries. And so now what we want to do is think about strategy. And in fact, let's go ahead, right? I'm just getting things scouted out. I've found all of my sheep, right? I have a good sense of what my map has to offer. Got those stones, got my gold. I've found everything. It's time to move out. And so you'll see me, right? I'm gonna go move around here in kind of a looping fashion. Now, thinking about strategies here and going up against the Mongols. Mongols can be on you so fast. I could possibly try. Let's look at him trying to name the boar. That's funny. A Mongol player can get on you really fast, and so I think that you have to either really commit hard to playing defense, or go ahead and try to get there faster than them. I take the approach in this game of going to get there faster than them. There's a few reasons. The biggest reason, well, actually, let me start off with the not biggest reason and then get into the bigger one. Because I'm gonna have a really shallow base. If he follows up with aggression, whether it's towers or archers, something like that, he should be able to still harass my farmers, and that's something that I don't want to see, right? So I'm a little worried with this map about playing aggressively, and I have this gold forward, and that's not good. My other golds, in fact, all 3 of my golds are forward on this map, so it's actually, right, I probably should put this house a little bit further. But that being said, I think we're going to be okay here. Now, the biggest reason, though, is one of the major weaknesses about Bulgarians is that you don't get crossbows in Castle Age, and so you really have to be careful how you commit to archers, and making a lot of archers in Feudal Age is something you generally don't want to do. So if he goes something like, if he goes, let's say, Scout's Archer build, right, as I see he's luring deer, so I know where his Scout's at, which is very important. And right, now that we know where he is, we can turn this back on. Perfect. All right, so we can see he's trying to get that barracks up. Right, good timing. In fact, really good timing. Perfect timing for him. He does a little bit of idle TC time at the town center, which at this, 12 to 1300 elo level is pretty common. That might be a death knell in a pro game, but here you see it sometimes. So I think 18 seconds is a little high. It's a real tricky thing for me to go play a lot of archers in defense, and so I think playing like one range archers is really effective for playing defense, and so it's just a tough thing, right? Okay, so right, let's actually take a pause here, right? We're up to the next stage, right? So you can see my scout immediately. What I'm trying to do, this stable, right? It's not that much up. He's got 2 bills on it, so he's playing this the way you're supposed to. What I'm really trying to do here is my men-at-arms are maybe just about 10 to 15 seconds late with this, but I'm trying to keep this stable from getting up. I'm sacrificing some HP on this scout, and there's a lot of chaos going on. What he should be doing right here is trying to get these guys walled up, right? And this tells me a lot about what he's going to go to. I'm able to knock him off the stable. Now, again, the counter to what I'm doing here, if he had been able to wall these villagers in, that would have been much, much more helpful for him. But now, the stable he's been knocked off of, I could have gone in deeper, right? I sense that right now, but I'd have to cross through this town center. And honestly, right, I've stopped him from going scouts now, and so that's something that's pretty important to me. Now, I know he wants to go scouts. What I don't know is if he's going to try to make, as you can see me bring a spearman forward, just in case he's got a scout in the back of his base. He's building a stable up there. He probably wouldn't have the wood for it, given how fast he went up. And now I see what he's going for. He's going for the range. So, he is going to want to add in archers. Now, here's the thing to think about right now, right? He's going to try to add either archers or skirmishers here. Now, given, right, that we have some men-at-arms, a scout, a spearman here, right, you have 2 decisions here. You can either go for your own skirmishers, which might seem nice since he's got archers, or you could go for a stable, which is what I choose to go for. Why? Well, I know that because I'm attacking him early, he doesn't have this up. He has this unfinished stable, which tells me that he hasn't, and again, I'm kind of guessing here, but it's an informed guess, and that's one of the things you want to do in these games. You want to try and make as informed guesses as possible, right? I'm pretty convinced, given that he's got the range up, he hasn't deleted the stable, that he does not have a stable in his base. So, I like the idea here of taking map control, because I have enough melee units preserved over to where I can, if he goes archers, right, I can fend that off a little bit. Scouts are going to be a nice effective counter. If he mixes in spearmen, we've got the men-at-arms here. And I'm trying to put this pressure on. I like the idea of going ahead, getting our farms, getting our upgrades. You can see in this build, we already have double bit axe and horse collar. So we have our eco upgrades, right? It's a pretty strong build. And so what we want to do now is going to go hit play, right? I want to go scouts. Now, typically your scout rush when you're following it up this way is a little delayed, right? It's going to be a little delayed, but in part because we did make the spearmen, and you see a little bit of idle time slipping in there, right? These early rush strategies, sometimes that's the way it goes. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep pressure on the front of his base. As you can see, we have a scout coming out. It's going to be getting there, and see if I can break in here. These skirmishers don't have any armor, so what I'm looking at here is to see if he's attacking the spearmen, and he's not. So I'm actually kind of happy to keep trading with these men-at-arms and keep this villager idle, because I'm not taking that much damage to this, right? Now, meanwhile, back home, again, we know what's going on there, and right now, just trying to macro, get the farms up. You can see my opponent, no farms. We have 14 on food now. Some of this is on berries, so it looks like we have 11 farms, and we're gonna have the wood for even more. So we're not in a bad spot. We have, right? We do have this weak scout here, but we should have another scout somewhere else on the field, right? Oh, it's being created. Okay, perfect. We have another scout in the field, right? So we're getting our scouts out. Meanwhile, I think our opponent's on auto scout at the moment. Not bad. And we're taking map control. Now, we lose this scout. It looks like it was really low HP, but that's okay. We have another to replace it, right? We're keeping pressure on the front of his base, because, again, we're not walled up at home, and so one of the things I want to do here is, if I know where his army's at, then I don't have to worry as much about being counterattacked. And I know what he's going in for. He's playing this very, very defensively. That's fine. That's great. If he's playing it defensively, he's not going to be able to do that much damage to me, right? So that's what we're thinking about here, as we are doing not a bad job, but we're keeping the action here. And, right, I kind of like to get this stable down, but I really don't have the power to do it. And honestly, I am a little worried that he might try to go like something like scout skirms, and he's getting walled up too. Now, here's the thing to remember about scouts, though, and this is one of, I think, the major limitations about Bulgarian play, and so you have to know this, I think, when you're playing with them, is that they're really a civilization that has a weak feudal age, in that typically you don't win games in feudal age with scouts. You don't win games in feudal age typically even with skirmishers, as, right, he's sending an army here to cover this area, right? Because we're gonna, right, attack this area, right, to see if we can spot his army. Very good. We could run in here, but we'd take too much damage, so we don't want to do that. And so Bulgarians are a civilization that you very rarely, I think, win games in feudal age, unless your opponent just like does a whole lot of gets so taken aback by the fast men-at-arms. I think in this elo, as you can see, people kind of have a decent way to defend men-at-arms, even if it throws them off a little bit. And we've caused a lot of idle TC time. We've caused a lot of idle eco time, so we've been doing pretty well. Now, I make a decision here, right, to go, if we can, right, see what I see, scout out this area. I'm leaving this army here, because if he's sending troops forward, I want to know about it. Right, that's the thing. So I highly suggest, right, these guys aren't going to do that much damage anyways. There's too many archers and skirmishers and things in his army now, right? We've seen them. I'm leaving them there just to keep them there. And so let's see how he reacts to this. So I think he wanted to go forward. I probably should have had these guys patrolling so they could catch that army, but he doesn't quite get the wall up. And now we have our first thing about it. In this whole game, we finally have our first eco kill. We idle our TC just a little bit so we could click up to the next stage. That was on purpose. And boom, now we're up. So again, like, we're up. Our opponent is very, very far from getting up right now. Now, he has a lot of wood. He could build a market, sell a lot of that. He could get up in a bit, but we're still quite a ways ahead of him. I would say don't let the Vil count mislead you on that, because take a look at the idle eco. We've had under 7 minutes of idle eco time, right? And he's at 21, right? So it goes to show you TC time, right, with the villagers is important, but also he's had triple the amount of idle eco time. So this is done, even though we've only got one villager kill, we've only idled his TC by about a minute. We have actually done some really substantial damage to him economically, and now we're going to come back around to the front again. When we were in this area, we knew where his army was. I knew I was defended at home. Great, fantastic. And I think I misclicked. I think I meant to click on that villager. Yeah, I think I realized that right now. Okay, so maybe we take another pause here, right? What are we thinking about in Castle Age? Now, when you're Bulgarians, this is where the game really tends to spice up for you. Bulgarians have some great options in Castle Age. You can play longswords with them because you get the free longswordsman upgrade, and you can try to mass those on the way up. That's a pretty niche strategy. Definitely something that's useful against American civs, though, if they're going to play. If you get a sense they're going to play eagles. We could also go heavy cavalry archers, but given that our Mongol player has archers and skirmishers, and Bulgarian heavy cavalry archers actually scale pretty decently relative to a lot of other civilizations, but they're still not perfect. Basically, their cav archers are as good as Huns, and if you want to see a tier list on cav archers, right, I've got one for you. Go check that on my channel. In fact, I'll put that at the end of this video. Bulgarian cav archers are good. They're just might not be the preferable unit. The thing to remember with Bulgarians is that you get all your blacksmith upgrades for half the food cost, and your blacksmiths work faster. You can see here, right, if we're going to click, I'm building another stable. I've sold some stone because Bulgarian, their one economic bonus is the fact that you spend, as we have a little bit of fighting going on here, right? Again, just trying to keep track of his army. Bulgarian town centers cost minus 50% stone, right? It's kind of the opposite of the Britain bonus. That means you can sell 100 stone, and you can still put down 2 TCs if you want to. Now, we probably don't want to do that with this build because we're going to open 3 stable, right? I'm sensing we have an advantage, right? And we know where that army is now, so these guys serve their purpose, right? We're up. Boom. We get +2 armor in very, very quickly. We're going to get Bonesaw, right? That's a Spider-Man movie. We're going to shout out to Bonesaw. Right? We're getting our knights out, right? And you know, we're going to try and go forward here and really put a lot of pressure on our opponent, who is still mired in feudal age. Now, this is really a mistake from him. The fact that he doesn't have a market. That's something I think we do. Yes, we do have a market. And we also have not a villager, right? Again, not a perfect player here. And again, this is mean. I'm not trying to call the pot the kettle, or whatever that expression is. I make mistakes too. You definitely see a lot of mistakes in this gameplay. And he needs to have gotten a market up much, much earlier, because this is one of the things that we tend to struggle at an intermediate level, is having the game sense to know when your opponent's probably up. And he should have probably had a queue when his score was a bit higher than mine that I clicked up. So you can see, right, we have a big army, right? We're going, you know, 3 stables, right? We're keeping them producing. We have knights with +2 armor. I think we have husbandry is probably coming in soon, and we have enough of a wood surplus here to where I feel pretty comfortable getting a town center up, right? Because again, we've got the surplus, so we're not doing bad there. And now, right, he's got this open here. This is a major mistake from him. And what you can see, right, he's going to try to wall in some villagers. But I sent the scout in there to just kind of deal with that, get some villager kills, and he evacuates. And at this point, we have +2 armor. He is not in feudal age, in castle age. He's on the way up now. He doesn't have fletching for his town centers or his army. The town center can't harm my troops here. Even if I only had +1 armor, I think we'd still be okay. And that's where the game ends, right? And so I think this is probably the most popular way to play Bulgarians. And I gotta say, it feels really, really strong. You know, I think our opponent could have, I think he really lost a lot of initiative not getting that stable up. And we still would have been on his base pretty strong. but he would have had to deal with it. But it might have been more interesting there. But again, that's the purpose of this fast men-at-arms rush, is that it really enables you to catch your opponent off guard, and it's one of the few men-at-arms rushes that's kind of hard to wall up for. You really have to commit to playing a defensive strategy, I think, to get walled up that early. And that is something for Bulgarians is really playing into their wheelhouse, because Bulgarians don't want to play a very aggressive feudal age anyways, because of the fact that you're probably not trying to overinvest too much into archers, and you're going to lose those archer v archer battles. He can just go skirms, and so you really are trying to set yourself up to get into castle age, where you have knights that you can easily upgrade, and you have town centers that are cheap on stone. Sell a little bit of stone, get some resources back. You can see already we were setting up forward siege. We had a mangonel out, bada boom, bada bing, right? So anyways, that is, right, the Bulgarians ultra fast men-at-arms into scouts. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that this video will be helpful for your gameplay. I've definitely seen in the comment section, we've actually a lot of little discussions about Bulgarians and how much actually we enjoy playing them. And so I know that there's some Bulgarian mains out there, so hopefully this video is something that, if you're not already doing it, or if maybe there's something you can learn from it, or you just think that having the sound of my voice in your head when you're playing the game is going to be helpful, hey, this is what I live for. So with that being said, right, I'm Jimmy James 59, and I'll see you out there on the ladder. Peace.